reason I'm doing this segment is because one of my good friends, he's a Q guy, and he's always telling me Q says this, you got to look into this, Epstein and everything, and it's all connected. And I thought we'd look into it, so that's what we're doing here. Is Q Trump himself?
There's no way to know.
And now to June of 2016. Mr. Clinesmith, who's he?
I'm going to defer on speaking about people who we don't name specifically in the report.
Who's the guy that altered? Tell me about the guy that altered the email from the CIA.
So there was a lawyer in the Office of General Counsel at the FBI who was the line attorney working with the agents and counterparts at the National Security Division on the FISA. And that individual in June of 2017, as the last application was being prepared, and immediately following Mr. Page, Carter Page, going to news outlets after word of the FISAs hit the news media, and said to the news media, I was someone who worked with U.S. intelligence agencies, not someone who worked against them. Lawyers and agents went and said, we've got to figure out what's the story. Is that what happened? The lawyer, the OGC attorney for the FBI, reached out to a liaison at the other government agency that was at issue, asked the question, was Mr. Page a source or a contact of some sort for your organization? The report back and the email referenced the August 2016 memorandum that agency had provided to the FBI that I mentioned in my opening statement. The FBI did no follow-up on, and said what that liaison's general recollection was that Mr. Page was or is someone who had a relationship with the entity, with the other government agency, but that the lawyer should go look at the report for confirmation. The lawyer then had a conversation with the FBI agent who was going to be the affiant, the person who swore out that final application, FISA application. The agent told us, and is detailed in here, was concerned about what he had learned about what Page said publicly, and wanted a definitive answer, as he put it, as to whether Page was...
If the agent, if Carter Page was actually telling the truth, it changes one of the predicates to consider him a foreign agent.
That was the concern of the agent, and it was the agent who was going to be swearing out.
If true, it would be helpful to Mr. Page.
It certainly could have and may well have been very helpful to Mr. Page.
Okay.
But it's at a minimum, without any doubt, it should have been known, it should have been followed up on, and it should have been
what did
told
this lawyer do?
The FBI. When the lawyer had the discussion with the agent, and the agent said, I want to see it, do you have it in writing? The lawyer said he did, and he forwarded the liaison's email, but altered it to insert the words "and not a source" into the email.
So he doctored it.
He doctored the original email from the liaison.
It made it look like the CIA denied knowing Mr. Page.
It flatly stated that he was not a source.
Okay, now just imagine, folks. You're representing somebody as a defense attorney, and they do this to one of your clients. I hope somebody pays the price for this, whether you like Trump or not. So why did Mr. Clinesmith, that's what we're talking about, you not said, I'll say, what motivated him to do that?
It is unknown as to precisely why he did it, but
this is the Viva la Resistance guy.
I was going to mention, we reference in here the text messages you mentioned, and we have not made a determination, but rather, as we note in here, when we learned this, we notified the Attorney General and the FBI Director and referred it to
You did a great job.
So what happened with Strzok and Page, meaning the two lovers, is a disgrace. Because they had a lot of text messages, and Mueller illegally deleted those text messages. And they didn't get too much into that,
because he forgot, he didn't really know, he didn't know too much, he didn't know anything. But Strzok and Page were texting. Don't forget, they were the ones with the, just in case you should lose, we're going to have an insurance policy. This is the same Strzok and Page. So that was a very, very bad situation. What they did and what Mueller did, he deleted their text messages back and forth, probably thousands of them. That's a serious problem. He shouldn't have been allowed to do it.
I look at the Inspector General's report. I'm citing from page 404 of the Inspector General's report. It states, Page stated, Trump's not ever going to be president, right? Right. Strzok replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Also in the Inspector General's report, there's someone identified as attorney number 2. Attorney number 2, this is page 419, replied, hell no, and then added, Viva la resistance. Attorney number 2 in the Inspector General's report and Strzok both worked on your team, didn't they?
Pardon me? Yes.
They both worked on your team, didn't they?
I know. I heard Strzok. Who else were you talking about?
Attorney number 2 identified in the Inspector General's report.
Okay. And the question was?
Did he work for you? The guy who said Viva la resistance.
Peter Strzok worked for me for a period of time, yes.
Yeah, but so did the other guy that said Viva la resistance.
Mr. Clinesmith, that's who we're talking about.
And here's what I'm kind of noticing, Director Mueller. When people associated with Trump lied, you threw the book at him. When Christopher Steele lied, nothing. And so it seems to be that when Glenn Simpson met with Russians, nothing. When the Trump campaign met with Russians, 3,500 words. And maybe the reason why there are this discrepancies in what you focused on is because the team was so biased.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Pledged to stop.
The worst misconduct. In August of 2016, just 2 weeks into the investigation, the CIA tells the FBI that it actually has a relationship with Carter Page, that when he has these meetings with the Russians, he actually goes back and he tells the CIA about it. But you never tell the FISA court that. And in fact, in 2017, an FBI lawyer doctors a document. The CIA said, oh, Carter Page, he's a source. And he puts in the application, he's not a source.
Yeah, I got to take issue with one of the, I'll answer the question, but one of the predications of your question, the Inspector General did not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found mistakes and negligence and oversight.
No, that's not true. In the case of Kevin Clinesmith, he has referred it for a criminal investigation.
Right, but that's not been resolved. This business with the lawyer changing some email to a partner on the team.
I mean, you make it sound like it's not much. It's
quite very important. It's very important.
I mean, not a source to not a source is a big deal.
Remember how we got here. The FBI was accused of criminal misconduct. Remember, I was going to jail, and lots of other people were going to jail. People on this network said it over and over and over again.
Why aren't people going to prison for what they did to the president? On the other side, throw Bill Barr in prison. And these things take time.
I'm going to pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.